All right. Welcome to the live stream. Can you guys hear me? I hope so. So this is the live stream for the Indie Review Show, the After Party, which we have, I think, Cory Cruz there. Yeah, this is where we kind of hang out and do art and work on stuff after the Indie Review Show rocks its business. So, yeah. Anyhow, so I'm going to be basically working on the panel borders and type for Two Stories Book 2. And that's pretty exciting. How's it going, Cory? Do you feel good about the review this time?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was saying I was going to show you this, and then I dropped. We always talk for a couple minutes afterwards, and this time I started to talk, and then I fumbled my mouse, and I think it hit the corner of the desk on the way down, and it hit the back button. And since the browser was active, it bounced me out of the stream.
I love it.
Anyway, I was going to show you. Nope. This is that guy Eric Creek, who I'm certain is inspired by Clowes, but you can just see on just see on the cover the interesting caricatures and different people.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's no doubt. Another guy who's huge that I'm sure I'll cover on Indie Review Show. Oh, Fear Agent. I love that book. He works on that, or is that a different?
No, that's a different guy.
Okay, so this is
the way they talk to each other is they talk to each other in iconography.
Nice.
So it's a really interesting book.
That's kind of awesome. That's like a mix. There's a comic by Andy Runton that I was really shocked got picked up by Scholastic, called Owly. It used to be out through Top Shelf, and it's done the same way where it's totally silent and they just kind of speak in icons. Yeah.
It's a fun way of doing it. I think it requires a lot more cartooning.
Yeah. For sure.
There's a lot of Eisner in this page there. That's like contract with God stuff.
Yeah, but when I see a superhero like that, I'm like, I can't help but think of Clowes.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's basically the same outfit except it's black.
Although it could be one of those scenarios, because I've definitely seen that where there are artists that pull from similar influences, and so that's always a possibility too. It's like I don't know if Clowes has a trademark on the old school kind of Batman vibe, know. So
you might like this one, Josh, because I'm remembering now it's autobio. That's the it's like surrealist autobio.
Huh.
That's the that's the illustrator. And this is him at his desk, and then he begins interacting with his characters and stuff.
Huh.
But he writes himself into his own weird little comic.
It looks really compelling, actually. I'm really interested. What's interesting, for silent comics too. Have you ever seen Roger Langridge's stuff? He does oh my gosh, and now I'm gonna blank out on Langridge's main thing. It's like a clown. Roger Langridge. I shouldn't forget this because it's brilliant. So he does I think Mugwump was one of his comics, and then Fred the Clown.
Yeah, I've seen Fred the Clown around.
Yeah, so I mean, he ended up being the guy who got to write and draw the Muppet Show comic. I think when they relaunched it, and it when you see Langridge's work, it's it makes perfect sense because it's he is the Muppet Show, But he also like he's just like an expert at silent comics. Like the Fred the Clown comics, like from what I recall, are like completely silent. So it's like watching a silent slapstick film, which is really hard to do in cartooning. Like incredibly hard.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I know Scott has given this advice to like young cartoonists, like, or, if you're going to take on a comic for the first time, I would say for like an animation or a comic, just telling a completely silent story would be a really good first challenge, because it is really hard, and you'll learn a ton of fundamentals that way,
Right. And it forces you, I think we have a natural tendency to try to explain as much as we can in text, because we're used to telling.
Yeah.
And so if you do it silent, it like kind of forces you to have to show.
Yeah. And it'll, and if you show it to other people as you're doing that process, you'll realize like what you think you're showing a lot of the time you're not.
Right.
Like you're like, oh, I thought that was clear as day. It makes you really respect like the old silent films, like Buster Keaton films and stuff, where it's just like unbelievable what information they could convey with like no words. It's kind of it's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. And if you look at a movie like WALL-E,
oh yeah,
and you're like, because my first attempts at animation, I try to do them all silent because I didn't want to deal with lip syncing. And
that's a good reason to start with that too.
But it does teach you quite a bit about that. It's pretty fascinating. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this rock.
Oh, Jim was asking, what % are you complete with the music video?
Well, I was just flipping through that. I have all 4 characters have been approved now. So you got the bass player here. I've just got to fix the headstock because he has a signature bass that is his specifically. And so I've got him, and I've got his face done. I've got the lead guitarist done, and apparently he has a signature like Ganesh t-shirt that he wears. And so got the Ganesh illustration there as well. And then the drummer, and these are all like broken up into different parts and things. And then I've got the lead singer, and we finally figured out how we want to dress her, because she was in kind of like a shirt, but she wanted to be in like a jacket. So there's that. And then I have I'm trying to think. I've got 3 pirate foxes to do, and then I've got to animate a fish swimming and a bird, like the lines of the road are turning into fish and birds. And so I've got somebody helping me with that. And so after that, I've just got to animate all those characters, but I think that'll be all the assets done and all the backgrounds and everything. And so I've just got to animate the band, animate 3 scenes with the fox pirates. Oh, and then I've got to build a bomb, and I've got to get it to rotate from 2 different angles. So,
building a bomb in Illustrator, not in actual bomb. Please don't pull this video, YouTube.
No. May all our bombs be cartoon. So that's it. So I am probably 80 to 85% done, I think.
Dude, that's very exciting. Very, very exciting.
So
I'm going to throw that question right back at Jim, though. How far are you on Pleasure Beast, sir? Let us know in the chats. Anyhow,
I have the other thing I'm working on is this. I've got to do these t-shirts, and there's a gag that they want to do on their billboard, which I think is going to be pretty funny.
This is the auto company that had you doing the billboards before, right?
Yeah, so I'm doing a billboard and then a t-shirt, and then we're working on a mural. But they great, there's a moth that flew in through the window. They want to have a truck pulling a trailer full of donkeys, and just say, we keep you hauling, and then ...
Ah,
which I thought was pretty funny. But I have to figure out what makes a donkey look like a donkey, because like that joke will not translate if people assume it's a horse or a cow or some other long snouted 4-footed creature that looks all exactly the same.
yeah.
So I've been spending my afternoon looking pictures of donkeys, trying to figure out like what makes a donkey a donkey.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would think like the ears, the width of the ears. I think they have like a thicker neck, and then they definitely have like a different kind of mane going on.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a strange, like more of a droopy mouth. It's hard to visualize. You're right, though. Like there is so much commonality between them and horses. Is it true that donkeys can't reproduce, or is that a mule? Or are donkeys, mules different?
No, so one of them is a hybrid. I think the mule is the hybrid, and it's unable to reproduce. So I think you have a donkey, you have a horse, and then a mule is a donkey horse, and they're all sterile.
Interesting. Animal facts.
So I read, when I was like 14. So who knows how accurate that is?
All right. So Jim said he was 64.8% done. That is surprisingly accurate, sir. It's a very specific amount. I'm going to be so disappointed if it's 64.7. I'm going to have to cite the fact police are going to come. They're going to arrest.
You got to be really careful giving out those stats, because people hold you to it.
Yeah, it's totally true. Speaking of, I've been saying I'm like a third through, but I don't know if that's the case. I think it's the case. I think I'm probably about a third. Yeah. It's just it's interesting to think about. Yeah, it's interesting to kind of think about like percentages when it comes to like knowing what it is to like draw every single panel and then ink every single panel. It's pretty time consuming.
Right.
So it's like, am I a third through? I don't know. In theory, but it's hard to know.
Yeah, but you're done with all the roughs now, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. The rough pencils are all done. So right now what I'm doing is like blocking in the lettering and the panel borders. And it's kind of technically like rough panel borders and lettering now, because I do like a cheat version of hand lettering. And it was funny because I remember a while ago somebody emailed me and they were like, your letters are a little inconsistent in your comic. Have you thought about using a font? And I was like, no. I use a font and then I make them inconsistent.
Right, yeah.
Like
this is an intentional choice that I've made.
So I know it's weird, but it's like I actually like the inconsistency. I'm drawing it wrong on purpose, guys.
I think it's funny that somebody would see that as a flaw. They're like, hey, did you know that there are computers? You're like, yes, I'm well aware of computers. Thank you.
Yeah, it was interesting too, because they were like, you should use like vector programs to do it. And I'm like, I kind of do. Like anyhow. So yeah, anyhow, it was one of those funny moments. So what'd you do today? What'd you do for the 4th? Did you explode things?
My neighbor is like super into it, and like intentionally works at a fireworks stand just to get the discount. And so we just have like a big block party every every year, and it's kind of bring your own meat. And so we all just kind of got together and watched the show that he put on. You know, he'll like lean over to me and say, "Yeah, if I bought that full retail, that one alone would have been $300." It's like,
Yeah.
it looks like it.
Yeah, there was a
Impressive.
wild display near us. And because we did like a little get together, kind of everybody brings their own food kind of thing, like potluck, I guess.
Right.
And then did like a very small amount of like very kid friendly fireworks. And
Yeah.
like the neighbors next to the place we were at, we were just like, oh, okay, there's a month's pay. And then it's like,
What?
you see how these other ones go, and you're like, okay, that's 2 months of pay.
Right. Oh yeah. Like I'm thinking.
By the end of it, I was like, I think these people I think that's like their thing. Like, I think that's like what we do with you. You spend resources of time on like animation and or going like kayaking with the family or going on a trip or whatever. And they're just like, no, we're investing in fireworks.
Yep. No, it's funny like at first I'm like, man, that is, and then I realized like, oh yeah, this is probably the way people feel about the way I do art, you know, or whatever. Like, man, that is a ton of time and backbreaking work to like, you know. Anyway, it's funny, you know, when somebody does something different than you, you're always like, that's weird. But then you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, that's what I do, just different.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. It's just fascinating that for some people it's like their big thing is like I want to make fireworks explode.
Yeah.
That's my life's goal. I would like to have that happen.
Yeah. And it's cool. It is cool to watch, and I appreciate it. Because
dude,
the cool thing is like
very much, yes.
You don't want to do that by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so you are doing it because you're putting on a show. And so like, you know, I don't know. It's cool. He's a cool guy. I like him. He's a really nice guy, but he's pretty into it. So we reap the benefit of that. Jim said in the chat, I told Leanne about how beautiful Idaho is, and now there's one more person that knows your secret. You have to stop telling people, Jim. Just don't say anything to anyone.
I feel like there's this place. It's very near where you live, and it's sort of world famous for being one of the most beautiful places in the world. But I could be wrong. I feel like it's not much of a secret, like this place. I feel like there's like some kind of water thing going on with it, like a giant hole in the earth that spouts water.
Let me say some deterrents. One of the largest potential underground volcanoes on the planet.
Oh, dude.
If it went off, like the Western Hemisphere would cease to exist.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, here's the weird thing is like, so I get used to kind of like earthquakes in my area. There's notoriously bad earthquakes in California, to the point where if you grew up in California, and you know this because you lived in California, it's like you're gonna experience an earthquake at least once, but probably way more. To the point where like they happen and you're like, well, it wasn't really like a 7 near me, so
yes,
you know,
if it's like a 6 or below, and it's not like you're not next to the epicenter, you're like, yeah, I kind of moved us around for a couple seconds.
Yeah. We'll ride it out.
Everybody else,
I didn't even notice. I was in my car sleeping. But then like when we lived in the Northwest, like half of Portland is built on like 20 volcanoes, and it's like, and I remember being in like this rich neighborhood in Portland. It's like the rich side of Portland, and the whole thing's built on an active volcano. And I was like, that's insane. Like, I mean, it's passive right now, but it's active, I guess, just means that it can explode.
Well, what makes California safer than other places is that the earthquakes happen, right? Because the plate tectonics, there's always pressure of those plates moving against each other. I don't know how accurate this is, but in my understanding of it, the more dangerous ones are the ones that are like they've been pushing against each other for a couple hundred years without slipping. So when they slip, it's like several centuries of like buildup. Well,
Well, that's why, the San
you live in
Andreas,
California. It's like, well, that happens, every 2 or 3 years, and so it's fine.
the San Andreas is the one that like builds up a ton of tension, and particularly like there's a specific spot in up north. I think it runs all the way up California, but it's like there's a spot up north near San Francisco where like the tension has never been released for like 1,000 years. It's overdue by like 1,000 years or something.
Right.
And so they're like,
that's what you got to start worrying about.
Yeah. So that's the one that they think is going to be like the big one that like splits the state in half, which is awesome because we'll have beachfront property in that case. That's the joke. That's the joke where I live.
Oh, man.
But yeah, the volcano.
But I'm being really self-conscious right now about freehanding this rock in front of everybody. So just nobody notice any of the mistakes.
I don't even know like what you're talking about, man. That's a perfect rock. Was that good?
Yep, perfect.
All right. Yeah, like I don't know if I could get comfortable living near a giant active volcano, but I think it's just when it's foreign from threats around you. Like when Scott was talking about in Arizona, there being like scorpions.
Oh yeah.
I that freaked me out, but I was like, if somebody talks about black widows, I'm like, yeah, we got black widows here. Like there's a bunch of black widows.
Different. Like people that are like down south, and they're always like in Hurricane Alley,
Yeah.
And they're like, man, I could never live in California because of those earthquakes. I'm like, the earthquakes are nothing. Like they're nothing. Your entire town gets ripped up about every 6 years by wind. There's wind that comes from the ocean that picks houses up and throws it at things. Like, how can you think an earthquake is that big of a deal?
I still remember as a kid in Texas, like tornado warnings, and like you would just kind of chill. And I don't know if the like statistics have changed on this or whatever, but like at least my family was under the impression that you're supposed to like kind of hang out in like the bathtub, like. So we just like as kids just like sit in like an empty bathtub. I think it's because like it was the section of the house that had like the best frame or something, and you just kind of sit there like for like a couple hours. Like, okay, well they didn't. That's good. It just ripped up the farm nearby, like and tossed it into the air like a tennis ball, like.
And somehow that's less terrifying.
I don't know. It's crazy. But I mean, places that have basements for the reason of like, well, your house may not last, but you'll still have a good solid basement to build from.
Right.
That's a little freaky to me. Yeah. Now, I don't know if that's really why there's basements, but I heard that sometime.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What I understand of Wizard of Oz is that's why there's cellars.
Yeah. You got to be careful with those ruby slippers too in those moments. No.
The ruby ones or the silver ones? This is like a big nerd test.
That's a good point. I'll say silver, and then we can get into like the weird analogy of the gold standard.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the thing was
it is the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, I love it. Jim was saying, please more Clowes. There will be more Clowes. There will be much more Clowes because that was a bit of it. Of course, we got to cover Ghost World and Like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron. And I do think like Ice Haven would be cool too. There's a lot of stuff by him, but I'll vary it up. Like I don't want it to be like every other week is just like, here's another Clowes, so. I realized I'm in C's too, which is pretty exciting. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've been making fun of you for your alphabetical thing, and I think I'm getting to the point where I'm like kind of in envy of that. Because I'm a little bit worried that I kind of shot my shot early.
Oh, you didn't.
I gave all my good stuff at the beginning.
Well, I mean, I think even what you were just showing, like Fear Agent, would be a really good one.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, because that's like awesome, epic sci-fi, monsters. That's Tony Moore, right? I think.
Yeah, Moore, and Opena and Remainder.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a little.
Oh, David Boring too has to happen. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, and actually, speaking of like, yeah, there's so many good. Didn't they like? I think they tried to make a movie of David Boring. I never watched it, but I heard something like that. And then I know that the dude from Transformers, the weird one, who does the "They Will Not Replace Us" video. What's that weird actor's name? The Just Do It guy. Transformers first movie. Oh my gosh.
It's there's a song about him that mentions his name, so I'm going through the lyrics.
Yes, there is.
Shia
LaBeouf, thank you. So yeah, I think he ripped off a Daniel Clowes comic and made it a short film, and it got into like film festivals and stuff.
I remember that, yeah.
And then like he got really hardcore criticized for basically just wholesale ripping Clowes.
And then plagiarized his apology.
Yeah. I feel like most of the films, like I didn't even like Art School Confidential that much. It was interesting, but it wasn't like as good as the actual short comic. It's like, I feel like the one where they really nailed it was Ghost World. Because I mean, it's Steve Buscemi, which just in itself looks like a Daniel Clowes character.
Could you imagine having a face where somebody's like, yeah, it looks like a Daniel Clowes, or looks like a, like somebody who just draws grotesque things, and that's how people describe how you look.
I wonder though, because I mean, I think he's got to be aware of, like, he plays it up so much, and the cool thing is he's hedged it for a career, and he's a good actor, so it's like, I kind of feel like, I don't know, man, own it, because like he's getting more roles than a lot of beautiful people, so
it also helps that like he's in every Adam Sandler movie just because Adam Sandler thinks he's hilarious. So
yeah, there's that. There is that. I even liked Boardwalk Empire for a little bit. It got a little old later on, but it was really cool, like casting and stuff. Very violent and crazy, but
I've never seen it.
Had like a Scorsese vibe. It's good if you're into mob movies.
I'm not into mob movies. I just don't think I've seen a ton of them.
I don't know why I love mob movies. If they're done well, I tend to like them. I think it's like, I don't know. It's almost like a must. Let's see.
I can't remember who said it, but when in doubt, black it out. I think that's where I'm headed with this rock here. There's going to be large spots of spot black where I can't figure out how things connect.
I'm not sure. So what is the rock connecting to?
Oh, so this is let me hide my reference here.
No, that would actually make sense to have shadow toward that base part. Yeah.
But it's the truck kind of crawling out of the rock, or out of the pond or lake or whatever it is.
You could always add like a nice packet, like a
what?
Just like a nice little like packet, like what are those called? The Rob Liefeld things,
Oh, pouches.
Pouches, yeah. Just add some pouches
to the rocks.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know how to draw this part of the rock, so bandolier of pouches. That's what this rock is gonna have.
Oh man, I gotta say, I'm like, so I've been doing the biking thing, right? And
I like how you started, and you're like, I can barely do a mile, and like 5 seconds later, you're like, I'm doing 6 miles now.
Yeah, so I've got like 6 miles in, but that's still pretty weak for biking. Like, but I will say I'm like pretty beat today from that, which is pretty lame because it's like I should be able to do like 10. I think average is 10 for people. usually. So I want to get there, but I feel kind of weird and zonky from that. It's very strange when you do a new thing.
Yeah.
And at least for me, I have this like moments of brain death afterwards. You have that?
I don't start new things often, so I don't know. I need to do something. I got to get my body moving. This moth, there's just a tiny little moth that flew in through the window.
He's just hungry. You just got to give him like a suit or something to eat.
Yeah, it's so just frustrating.
Like, go to your closet, pick out your nicest suit.
I like how you assume that I have nice suits.
You've got to have a nice suit. Everybody's got to have a nice suit. I know you have a nice suit. I have a suspicion that has to exist.
Define nice.
Comfortable.
I don't know that that's possible.
It is possible.
I have one or two suits that I bought on clearance at JCPenney's. Does that count?
I mean, that's a suit. Is one a 3-piece with a pocket watch and a monocle?
I have several suit coats that are mismatched from things that I call sports coats, but they're not really sports coats. But I wear them like sports coats because I don't own the matching pants because I got them on clearance.
I think the mismatched pants thing you can pull off with a suit with a mismatched coat, as long as it's like the sports. Like if you professor that business, you can pull that off. You know.
I think you might be underestimating how much I hate dressing up.
Yeah, I'm mixed on it. Like I kind of hate dressing up, but then again, I also have this side of me that wants to dress like an old-timey professor, inventor dude. But not like, I don't know. I just kind of want to like there's a character named Professor Higgins in like My Fair Lady, the movie.
Yes.
That's how I want my house to look. And I want to dress like that dude because I think that would be rad. That's all I'm saying. If I had the wherewithal, I would probably do that. But since I'm lazy, I stick to t-shirts and jeans.
Yeah, I don't know. Holy crap, this moth is driving me crazy. And it's like attracted to the only light in the room, which is my monitor.
So is this going to get into conspiracy territory? Is the moth that's near you sort of man looking? Like, would you say they're like kind of a moth man of sorts?
Have you gone down the birds aren't real conspiracy theories?
Okay, you have to tell me. Is that real?
No.
Are you kidding? No, I mean, is that an actual conspiracy theory?
Oh yeah.
That's what I meant by real. Is that a real?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a real conspiracy theory, but it's definitely a conspiracy theory that that people enjoy. Hold on, let's see. So birdsaren'treal.com. Let me pull this up on my screen here. It's a movement. And you can, like, bird watching goes both ways. It's basically that birds aren't real. The idea of it is that they're all like spying on you from the government, and the reason that they sit on telephone wires is to recharge their batteries. And so here you have like JFK with the robot bird prototype.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Cory, here's the thing. I started realizing, I think the other day when we were talking about kayaking bears on a live stream.
Yeah.
That I really do think the next thing I do when I'm done with this needs to be a comedy. And it would be really fun. Maybe, I don't know. We got to keep this on the back burner, but it might be fun for us to collaborate on a fake conspiracy theory comic.
Oh, I'd be down. Jim's going to hear this and be sad, but the next couple things that I do, I'm not going to make them move. I am really tired of animation. I have done the thing I have killed the golden goose by taking money for the thing I was enjoying, and now I'm sick of it. so I'll come back to it and do some more stuff, but oh man.
So, Adam was mentioning Wilson was made into a movie and that it was awful. That's interesting. I assumed it was awful because I think I saw the trailer and was like, that's terrible looking. Okay, quick English nerd question. I'm a workaholic and it affected our relationship or effected our relationship?
Oh shoot, I can't remember. It would be affected. Because affected is when it happens to you. Effected is when it's outside of you. So because you're talking about the relationship, I think you now is that right?
So affect is a verb. It means to impact or change. Effect is a noun, and it's the result of a change.
So it would be affected then.
Weird. I wrote that, and I think that was a correction given by one of my English nerd friends who helps me spell check and tense check and stuff, like the grammar check and all that. And that was one where it just felt wrong to say that, but it is affected. So that must have been a change by one of my editor friends. Because I would have gone with effected, and then the English nerds that I know who reviewed my script were probably like, that's affected. That's awesome. That's a weird one. I always have trouble with those, with the affect and the effect. And I'm pretty good with the nerdy stuff, with the English grammar stuffs, but that one's a tough one for me.
Here's a little behind the scenes into Cory's cheating. Whenever you see me drawing foliage, you can tell that I got sick of it when I start doing palm fronds or palm leaves, because that you can cover up so much garbage with these giant palm leaves. Anyway, fun story.
So that's your version of like the I do not want to draw these rotors.
Right, yeah.
Which is interesting because you will also render out the entire scarf or whatever.
Right.
See here.
Yeah. I did that whole scarf only to have it get shot down by the client.
It was worth it. Wasn't it? I don't know. It's got to be worth it.
I was able to charge more money. So sure.
Financially worth it?
Financially worth it, which is the reason I'm not going to do animation for the next project.
I'm curious what you're going to do. Is what you're going to do have anything to do with sea voyaging business?
Oh man, I don't know. That's I might do another short, but I do think I'm going to. I want to leave a little gas in the gas tank because my sabbatical just got approved, and so I am starting in January doing a work-funded animated short. And so I want to make sure that I have, like, I'm not like super tired of it by then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might do some of that. I'm kind of bummed because I really wanted to get back to EndoExo. But right now I feel like that would just forever kill my animation hopes.
Well, you never know. It could be one of those things where you're feeling it now, and then like once you're done, you might be like, I cannot wait to do my own stuff, you know?
Yeah. One thing I actually was considering doing is getting into I'll show you what my wife got me for Father's Day. Let me go full screen here. And I got this. It looks great on camera, but then I got it and I was like, oh, I could easily do better than that. So this is a diorama that she got off of Etsy. for my action figures,
Okay.
and it's cool.
That is pretty cool. It looks pretty good on camera.
But I think I could do 10 times as good. And I've been kind of itching to do it for a little while, so I might jump into some of that type of thing.
Nice. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to get into kind of modeling and some of that stuff for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I could. Like I said, when I'm done with this, I might even just like paint for a couple months, just because.
I missed that. You do what for a couple months?
Like paint, you know.
Oh yeah,
I might
yeah.
do
Right,
some paintings, some happy trees. I'm just kidding. Probably figurative paintings, but I will say I went on a Bob Ross kick a couple years back, and kind of like Bob Ross.
I like the idea of Bob Ross. It is pretty hard to watch.
I think it's wonderful to watch. I think the art is not the greatest, but I like it. You know, I don't know.
It's performative. You know.
Yeah, it's like the trick painting, which I like. I just kind of like him. I think he's pretty awesome and hilarious, and I think it's funny and kind of rad that he's like this dude who used to be a drill sergeant and like had anger issues and was like, I'm tired of this life. I'm gonna be a happy painter,
right?
And like changed his life to where he like fed baby squirrels and was like this friendly Bob Ross. Yeah. And like by all accounts, like of people who worked with him and stuff, like was legitimately like that dude. Like he was literally like, yeah, guys, like it's just happy clouds and calm worlds and just feeding baby squirrels.
Yeah.
I think that is pretty amazing. So anyhow, I will just say from like just a standpoint of like consuming things, it was an interesting rabbit hole to go down for a little bit. There was a while where I got very hooked on those. And I was surprised by it, but
That's
should
cool.
I have been?
Who knows?
What's funny is I had a painting teacher who was like absolutely hated Bob Ross.
Oh, really?
And understandably, because he's like a formal, you know, life painter with like color theory and all this heavy stuff, doing like Cezanne type stuff.
Yeah.
And I did have like a palette knife that had Bob Ross's face on it. And I used to use it in class just to mess with my teacher, who was an incredible teacher and I learned a ton from. But every time he'd see that palette knife, he'd be like, oh.
Oh, man. That's funny.
Yeah.
And palm frond.
But I think it would be fun to do some life paintings, some portraits or something, or
yeah.
I think it should happen. I feel like palm frond is a fun word to say.
Yep, I'm just going to start shouting it out whenever I make a mistake that I'm going to black out.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not drawing a palm frond, I'm just going to shout palm frond from now on.
I wonder if frond is like a French originating word or if it just sounds French to me. Yeah, it sounds like a frond, you know?
Frond.
Like frond. I'm so sorry to anyone.
Why was that always the French sound?
I think it's Monty Python.
Guttural.
I'm guessing it's Monty Python that ruined French people. Why else do you think I speak in this ridiculous accent? Oh my goodness.
Good old Python.
They do not get old to me. You know what's great too is Faulty Towers.
I saw that in the documentary I was watching recently, but I haven't actually watched it.
It is solid, just clean, solid comedy. It's like it's hard to explain. It's like formulaic, but like in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good. It's just such a good premise. Really solid, like a lot of slapstick humor. Definitely like I feel like it's like Curb Your Enthusiasm before Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I haven't seen that.
It's that kind of premise though, where you have somebody who, you know, by curse of fate is like takes themselves way too seriously and then winds up because of that getting themselves, their pride gets them into situations where you pretty much get to watch everything fall apart and the person have to scramble and deal with it, you know, with the problems of their own making, kind of created by their own hubris, you know. It's pretty great.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Plus it's for John Cleese, it's like it's one of the funniest roles he's ever done.
I don't know why, but talking while I'm inking water reflections is always really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of there with talking while typing. It's a fun one. Let's see, but okay, here we go. Adam said French has those nasalized vowels. That's probably it. I don't know. It's a beautiful language. It's just like I don't know. I feel like France and Canada are always easy to make fun of.
Okay.
You know? That's what it's all about, eh? All right. Let's see here.
It's interesting with client work how I'm willing to cheat stuff I'm not willing to cheat in my own projects. Not that it's like actually cheating, but just the things where I would like, you know, I'm like, I would never do that on my own. And then here I'm like, yep, I'll totally do that all day long.
I don't know though. Sometimes that can make your work better, weirdly enough. I don't know if that's the case, but it's like I do find sometimes the tricks you'll use to kind of get things knocked out sometimes work better. I'm not saying this case, but I'm just saying I've found that for myself. Yeah. I think sometimes like when you're less I don't know, less precious or something, like things kind of actually sometimes work. And then sometimes not, you know.
It also helps, like when I'm making stuff for myself, I intend to use it in a lot of different ways. And when I'm making something for a client, I know this is going on a billboard. You know what I mean? Or I know this is going on a t-shirt. So you kind of, you know, you're still doing it at a high enough resolution to where, you know, it can be used in a lot of different things, but like it's on a billboard on a freeway. People are going to be going 80 miles an hour as they look at this. They're not going to, you know, they're not going to see whether or not the water ripples are completely accurate. They're just going to get the idea of water, hopefully.
I don't know. I think that works. Show some water.
The cool thing about this client, though, is they're excited to have it be in black and white, so I don't have to color any of this.
Ooh, that's great.
Yeah, and I love black and white, and most artists love black and white. Most people think they don't love black and white. People
fear black and white, and then they do things like it still bums me out. It's like I get it with Jeff Smith's Bone. I'm sure it probably the Scholastic books probably sell better in color.
Mm-hmm.
I've even seen it with my own kid, you know. He's too young for me to be like, hey, you gotta like black and white stuff, you know. Not that he doesn't like black and white stuff, but if he has to choose, he goes directly to color. And actually that's something massively that cartoonists should keep in mind if they're gonna do all ages stuff. Like if you're working on an all ages comic, making it full color is probably a smart idea to plan for.
And yeah, I've gotten that feedback on my children's book quite a bit. I'm always like, yeah, I still like it in black and white. but that's a book I'm not trying to make money off.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, there's always exceptions, but yeah, I've definitely heard that from different editors and stuff. But you know what's great? One of my favorite kids' books is Harold and the Purple Crayon, and it's 2 colors, and that is genius. And honestly, I don't think there's been a lot of kids' books like that iconic. I mean, there are a bunch of brilliant kids' books, but it's like that one's just striking, you know?
Right.
And it holds up. And I need to look into his earlier comics because he, the creator of Harold and the Purple Crayon, was like a Sunday comic strip artist.
Oh, yeah?
Like way back in the day, yeah.
Huh.
Crockett Johnson or whatever.
I don't know much about him.
The comic artist. Shocked. Yeah, he had like a Sunday strip that looked a lot like Harold and the Purple Crayon.
That's cool.
I'm curious. You know what's funny? Adam's in the chat, so I'm going to ask Adam. Adam, do you know more about Crockett Johnson? I don't know a ton about him, but Adam has a pretty solid knowledge of the history of the old cartooning. So might as well ask and see what all he knows about it. Okay.
All right.
He said, I don't know a whole lot about Crockett Johnson, but I checked out his comic strip. Okay, let me see. Now I want to go down this rabbit hole real quick. Although before I go down a rabbit hole, I should at least finish the word bubble that I'm working on. And I just realized I sounded a little Kermit the Frogish for a second there. I think there's something that sounds kind of Kermit the Frog when you say the, like you kind of go, finish the word bubble.
Now everybody's going to get to watch me fake the undercarriage of a car. I was just saying, it's really funny to me, the work I'm getting right now. Because like I'm not a big car guy, like I don't care about cars, and I actually think trucks are, like for like 95% of the people that own a truck, a stupid waste of money. I'm like one of those guys that's like really crotchety about giant trucks. And
well, especially the giant ones where it's like you could just get like the smaller truck and still have the bed to work with if you really need it, you know.
Yeah. But like all the work I'm getting right now, and I don't really like classic rock, and a lot of the work I'm getting right now is based on big trucks and classic rock, and I'm like, that might be another reason why I'm excited to not do stuff in a minute. Yeah, we're gonna pretend like that makes sense, though I don't even know what that would be, but there's stuff down there. And here's some Axel stuff.
Okay, so Crockett Johnson did Barnaby. Okay, let's check this out. Yeah, so he had a comic strip called Barnaby that ran from 1942 to 1952. No way. It was syndicated in 64 American newspapers. He also did paintings based on mathematical physics. Dude, so cool. Oh, dude, these are amazing. Dude was like oh, that's so cool. So he did like abstract paintings based on physics and math. And let me see what this. I guess he was a contributor to the Communist Party magazine. That's so crazy. I had no idea. I want to see this strip Barnaby. Oh, this looks incredible.
Put it up.
I know this is really exciting stuff.
For the next 35 minutes, you will hear Josh's audible reactions to the visuals he's looking at.
Barnaby comic strip. Let me see if I can find some big ones for you. It looks very like cartoon modern. It just looks like Harold and the Purple Crayon. Like the character totally looks like it. Like Barnaby looks like Harold. Let me find a good. I want to find a good one. Okay, I'm just gonna search for a large. Oh, I guess Fantagraphics is reprinting these. That's really cool. Well, let me show you a color one, and we'll show you that. Oh my goodness. Right? Kind of interesting. I don't know if you can see that in the stream.
Hold on, let me make you bigger. It's not really big enough to see. Oh, okay.
So it like literally is Harold.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. Very like minimal, cartoon modern kind of. Pretty interesting.
Oh, I think that rock is too detailed.
That's what they said about Jimi Hendrix. I don't know. Sorry. I was trying to think of some detailed rock musician. This is what happens when you're not used to bicycling. This is my excuse. But I am a little sleepy in the sense of the bicycle brain. So I started the whole thing out by being like, I'm not going to wear those stupid padded shorts.
Right.
Now I wear those stupid padded shorts with like shorts over them. I was like, well, at least I'm not going to wear that stupid jersey type shirt thing. One that looks like a spandex shirt.
And then you realize that it like wicks sweat really well.
Yeah, then I tried doing it with just like a white t-shirt and ended up like carrying around this heavy sponge while you're going, and you're like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So then I got the shirt, and then I was like, well, I won't wear the stupid glasses at least. And then I'm like, I kind of can't see while I'm okay. I'll get the stupid glasses.
Yeah.
Now I have all the stupid gear, and I'm like, I guess it all has a reason.
Yeah. All right. This is not the best truck I've ever drawn.
That is one hardcore mother trucker right there. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
That's pretty fun though. I feel like cars, like I'm not much of a car guy.
Yeah, neither am I.
But they are kind of fun to draw. I remember having this moment though, because like there are some things where you feel like this happened a long time ago. I got hired to do stuff for like Rich Franklin, who was like an MMA fighter champion guy.
Uh-huh.
And I had to watch all these MMA fights and draw like there's just been different gigs throughout the years where I'm like, this is for some other dude. Like
Right. Yeah,
like
this is
like there's some guy out there who's like, I want to draw MMA fighters, and like I just took the gig, you know. And
yeah. There are people that really enjoy, what I hate, and I'm drawing what I hate, and they're not drawing what they love.
Yeah. And I was just a little bummed about it because I was like, I know a lot of guys who'd just be like super into this, and I don't even like watching fights. And I'd have to like watch these fights and be like, I guess I'll freeze frame there. And I mean, I did see a little bit of the art of what the guy was doing, but it still isn't like something I just never have been one of those guys who's just like, I'm gonna watch people bash each other to death. Like I don't find it interesting.
It weirds me out, man. I've
Yeah.
tried watching it, and it's like the visceral nature of it is just like
Yeah.
it grosses me out.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I had to watch it for like a client a long time
Right.
ago, and it was like I could see the art of what was being done. Like there was a lot of skill and practice in what was being done.
Yeah.
But the brutality of it just was like not interesting to me. Like
Yeah.
And like yeah, and then there's another gig similar to that where I had to draw some like cheerleaders. It was for like Bud Light, and I had to draw the light guards, which are like these cheerleader model ladies. And I was like, I just don't want to draw a bunch of like cheerleader model ladies. Like, and again, I was like, this is for some other guy. Like some other cartoonist would be all about this business, you know, but like it's kind of not my forte. Anyhow, so
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
wait, is Frank like a MMA dude? That's cool.
I think he's saying anti-MMA. Oh yeah, maybe he is MMA. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not against MMA. I was just saying like and actually it was a really flattering job, you know, but it was just I just felt bad for people. Like I just felt like there was a cartoonist or illustrator out there who like they were in love with MMA, and I felt like that's who it you know. I don't know. I feel like I didn't enjoy it as much as somebody who is really into it would have, you know.
Yeah.
But I will say after that, I ended up appreciating MMA a lot more because, like, again, I had to watch so much of it. I was like, okay, I could kind of see where that thing he's doing is like cool. And keep in mind, this is a long time ago because I think even in MMA terms, he was like a champion. Like, it's got to be like 20 years ago now. So it's back when like the big beefy guys were winning and not like I don't think they had introduced the Muay Thai and stuff to it, you know. What is the grappling stuff? I don't know. Some kind of fight term stuff.
French again, and I would have no idea. I'd have just as much idea. Those rocks are definitely too detailed. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm gonna send it to him. No, I'm just gonna fix those rocks tomorrow. That sucks.
Oh, Frank rocks some Krav Maga.
Oh.
Only did a couple months. Krav Maga would be cool. Isn't that like a... I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend to know. I don't.
My understanding of Krav Maga is it's mostly fighting from a prone position, like what you do to protect yourself if you're being attacked. That's at least that's how it was described to me at one point. Okay, I'm going to save this and be unhappy with it. That's my plan here. I don't like this. All right, well, whatever. I do want to save it. Thank you for asking.
All right, well, we've been going for like about an hour. Are you planning on hanging for a bit longer?
I got a pretty early class tomorrow.
Yeah, I have this tendency to like want to scream till I'm completely finished with stuff, but I think I'm kind of in the same boat where I got some work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so as to have energy to work tomorrow after work.
Here's my band though. There they all are together.
That is very impressive, dude. And those are all movable assets. I want to reiterate to everybody, like looking at that.
The speakers, they in front view of this car, they arc, and as the camera moves up, they arc more, so you see from a different angle. Which didn't make sense as I said it, but it looks cool.
I'm sure it will look cool.
I need some more value contrast between all these dark gray shirts and shoes and dark gray speakers. Everyone is disappearing.
I like it though. Let's see here.
Yeah, I just gotta find some equipment for them to stand on and near. Isn't a darker value. Okay.
All right. Well, I am gonna call it on this this after party. Adam said it looks great. Frank said the band looks sweet. I think it looks pretty incredible. All right. Well, where can everybody find your work and all that fun stuff?
You can find my stuff at Caricature.com. And yeah, I was going to put some stuff up tonight, but I'm not going to now. So something probably tomorrow afternoon, early evening will go up on some of this stuff. So
I love it. Frank is making, I can't even quote, but like Frank is hilarious and you guys should check out the chats. He is a very funny dude. He said, if you crave MAGA, that's Krav Maga. All right. So as usual, I'd encourage everybody to also check out everybody's art in the chats. We have a lot of artists who actually hang out while we do these things, and I would say they're all worth checking out. So check out Adam, Frank. We had earlier Jim hopping in there, and all of these people are worth checking out the art of. And then I'm Joshua Kemble, and if you haven't yet, you should buy Two Stories while you can get it for less than a cup of coffee on Amazon.com. A Starbucks coffee, but on Amazon.com, if you have Prime, you get free shipping. And yeah, we'll see you guys on, I'm sure, another stream or on the next indie review show, or all that fun stuff. And then Frank said Jim Lujan will be on Tarako Creative Cast next week, which will be worth checking out. So all right, that'll do it, and we'll see you guys. And before we go, I'd also say this is the after party for the indie review show, and so make sure you go to irsagency.com and check out our latest review of Caricature by Daniel Clowes. And then also stay tuned on irsagency.com to see what we're going to review next week. All right. And is that a Metamorphosis shirt?
Franz Kafka.
Amazing.
Yep.
Have you seen the rock opera from Home Movies of Franz Kafka?
I have not. I read the book several times.
Before you log off, I'm going to end the broadcast, but you're going to watch the Franz Kafka rock opera. It's like a 2-minute clip on YouTube, and it will crack you up. All right. See you guys. Have a good night.